Welcome back. We're here with Jared from Holistic Massage, KC. Jared, thanks for coming on the podcast, man. I'm super excited to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me and having the opportunity to talk about, everything we have today.
Yes, yes. So, can you talk about what products and oils you use when giving a massage?
So the main product that I use grapeseed oil. I'm transitioning through different oils depending if people have allergies or kind of the seasonal. Try to make it more tailored to the person. So if they need more or less, I always try to make sure they're definitely accommodated. So.
And er, is there some health aspects that you really focus on when it comes to those oils and products you do use?
I try to get the products mostly like especially grapeseed oil that helps with inflammation, especially since a lot of my clients get deep tissue or sports massage. I tend to use like grapeseed oil or other oils that help with cut down with inflammation and kind of speed up recovery. I mean, they're not cure by any means, but they definitely help with maybe even just agitated skin or agitated area on the body.
And can you kind of talk about why the nervous system is something that you really focus on as a massage therapist?
Well, I mean, the entire, everything we touch with our skin is a nervous system connector. So, there's layers upon layers of connective tissue. And that's the main reason why I focus on those areas because literally from the, tips of your fingertips to the bottom of the heels, those are all connected. And that's kind of why we focus on those areas. And especially like either in a chair or table massage, those are really things that we need to focus in on more or less that they're all connected instead of just being symptomatic with everything.
And I think the nervous system is something that, at least here in America, that we almost very rarely talk about as a health thing. We always, you always hear people talk about ligaments and joints and muscles, but very rarely we talk about the lymphatic systems and the nervous system.
Oh, definitely. And I would say, a lot of our nervous system are things that are definitely things that we accumulate over time is usually pushed to the back burner. And that's usually the thing that gets burnt first is the thing that's pushed to the back. So,
Yeah.
just things like that you need to take care of, especially with the central nervous system. I've always been told you need to take your day off or the day will be taken off for you. So that's usually never in a convenient time, so try to make a convenient time to take care of yourself, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do at Holistic Massage, and especially with other people that I partner with or people I collaborate with to promote wellness for the community, not only Kansas City, but just people that are watching this and being able to pick up.
And why do you think, or where does this inspiration come from for yourself to really push the holistic medicine and the holistic practices versus the traditional type of practices in America that we're known?
I would say, my journey, I was young and I used to be 300 pounds
Wow.
and stuff like that. So there's definitely a method that, that they prescribe to you to make you feel more comforted. Not everything is going to give you a comfortable feeling, especially things that you want or maybe things you desire. So you have to go through like changes and stuff like that. And I feel like, a lot of people are big into pharmaceutical changes that are fast, easy, simple. And that's why they speed up all the words at the end of the commercials. So with the holistic, it takes time. And I think a lot of people are wanting instantaneous gratification, but I would say definitely after the hours and miles of running and lifting and everything included, that like taking a little bit of time to do it the right way instead of doing it again is what I suggest because some of those quick easy fixes are quick and easy, and so you can definitely derail the train that you've been kind of going down the tracks on, and then you have that comfort of doing it again and quickly recovering, while these other things are very gradual. It's like almost like a river that flows, like it just gradual over time changes the environment. And I think I'd rather change the environment than change the symptoms.
And with you, you said you were 300 pounds, correct?
Yeah, I was 298 pounds at 16 in high school.
So
I believe if anybody's been big or someone that has been to high school understand that's not the greatest environment, but there's also things I could have changed to make that environment better for me. So, and that's where I kind of, it's a little bit of both. I could have changed the environment and also myself in that place, but I feel like both kind of, contributed to that situation as well. So.
what do you really do, when you were sitting there and you were almost 300 pounds? What did you do to first start losing weight?
The first thing I started to lose weight is like cut back on like what I'm drinking. So like I did a lot of things just kind of intuition based, if that makes sense. Like just felt like, maybe I need to cut back on this and maybe I should eat more of this and just little things that I felt like I could make strengths and cut back on the weaknesses of things. So and exercise. I mean, I know everybody's like, oh, you have to like you're 5 to 9 to get ready for your 9 to 5. I don't know if you have to necessarily do it that way, but I would recommend that you do start, stay consistent, and manage expectations. And that's kind of how I would definitely approach that and almost everything that you do. And especially when it comes to losing weight, it's not easy. And people will root for you till they don't. So it's just one of those like you're gonna do it most likely alone. Now, people who work out in groups or they have accountability partners. Those are great, but you still are waking up by yourself, even if your partner is that person.
Yeah.
You're still, there's still things you have to do, and that's just in like life in general, not just only like weight loss or a betterment, but just things in general. Like it's up to you to decide. So.
Yeah. And when someone comes into your massage therapy shop and they say, "Oh, I'm dealing with back pain," or "Oh, I'm dealing with TMJ," or "I'm dealing with some sort of problem," what do you do to start to address that problem when you are working with them, on the table?
Well, especially, no one runs faster to a solution than someone in pain. So you have to make sure they're the right person to treat. And, like it could be like, oh, I'm having this issue in my leg. It could be a blood clot. Like, and that's the thing where like you could just, run and try to help everybody, but you could also do harm doing that. And so I think the thing that helps the most is being able to take care of people even if they're needing help, to make sure you can help them, because you could get prescribed the wrong thing at a doctor and it could make it
Yeah.
worse and things. So there's a reason why we have our licenses, why we go to school, why we go through pathologies and things like that, because it does make an impact on the people you take care of, and maybe not them but the people around them. So you might complicate something. Now you could be a solution, but you have to kind of almost take the precaution to, you're there to help. So you have to help on every basis, not just financial for you or anything like that, just being able to help people. So, and that's more or less why you want to kind of like find out what caused it. If it's been something that's been just today, week, chronic, or always been that way, you need to kind of know those things so you can actually treat them or alleviate or, even, betterment their entire life, because you're actually showing them how to handle it or stretch, or it's not just I'm here, I put hands on you, kumbaya, and you're healed. That's not more or less what I do. I wish I was that good, but I would say it's just if you're wanting to incrementally get better, between the exercises that I recommend, the services that I provide, and also the things that you can stimulate yourself with, that can actually change things around your environment. So being able to like either going to see occupational therapist, physical therapist, or any kind of other practitioner that's able to help you. It doesn't have to be someone with a license, because not everybody that's a healer is licensed, or there is a license for that healing. So.
And you touched on it briefly, but can you talk about the difference between a licensed massage therapist and just a massage therapist that doesn't have their license?
So a licensed massage therapist, they have to have at least 500 hours of schooling, and that's just the bare minimum. I also did twice as much as that where I went.
Yeah.
It was a year-long program with continuing education. every year that's required for therapists. So you're not just getting the same therapist, you're getting a more skillful therapist every year or two, depending on the continuing education courses that we have. So you could just come out with the basic fundamentals of school, but with trading with other therapists and being certified with other therapists, you're able to kind of plug into the industry and be able to actually understand why you're there instead of just saying, "Hey, I'm this is what I am." You understand why you're doing something, and why's always defeat the hows. So being able to be licensed, you have to go through all that education, and then you have to pass a certification test, or the MBLEX, which is a pretty difficult test, I would say. Just because it's a vast test, just like any test at the end of your education, either if that's trade school or even high school or college. Like if you don't take the preparation, it'd be difficult. Unfortunately, I started my test was like 2 weeks right after COVID lockdown everything. So getting out of the brick slate made it hard to pass the test, but eventually I did. And so with being a licensed therapist, you have a lot more trust, not only with yourself but people in the community. And then also, you're held to a standard that other therapists are held to. You might see other people on social media, or people you may know that are not necessarily um, licensed or practicing in an ethical way or a professional way. And so that's where we kind of fall under, like, you just have to take care of yourself and the people around you. Because, yeah, someone might be comfortable with that, but that doesn't mean everyone is. And that's where, like, the standard of the licensing and stuff like that makes a big difference. So.
And when you do have a new client come into the shop and they're a little nervous, they're a little, maybe even like a little awkward or jittery about being or getting a massage for the first time with you, how do you make them feel comfortable and calm their nerves?
Well, I would say it starts before they even get there by how you hold yourself. And so like, your perception on social media or your website and things, that's already kind of a small paver into the way that you want to go. But I would also say, like that's why Missouri requires you to have your license where it's noticeable first of entry, is so they know that they're entering a massage practice that is licensed by not only a licensed massage therapist, but it's also been inspected by the state board, and that takes 2 weeks just to get them to come by and tell you if you're good or no good. So if you're willing to take all these time and all this risk, that's where like the trust is built, is because you have to go through these hurdles and these trials and tribulations just to get to this point. And I think that's a big thing. I mean, I'm obviously Uncle Sam needs his, but I would say that like some of these things are good things. I know everybody wish everything was unregulated and free marketplace for everyone, but I don't think that helps everyone. And so with being a licensed massage therapist, I also know confidently with the other therapists that taught me, and chiropractors and doctorates of Chinese medicine that I had the privilege to be under. I know that I'm going to be able to help people. Some people might just like what they do, but I felt like I've always been able to do this job, and being able to run my own business and things like that. So it's not just a serviceable skill that I'm doing, it's something that's allowing me to become bigger and better. And not only just like financially or physically, but spiritually as well. So
What's your opinion on erotic massages?
I think erotic massages are for not massage therapists. That's follows under more escort or uh, gigolo, synonymous words with prostitution. Erotic or nuru massages that are in a unprofessional climate are not where I'm at. And then also on top of that, with erotic massages, like I would say, being a male therapist, a lot of people either think that's what you're in it for, or that's why you're even doing it. And I think that's kind of a shame. I think a lot of social media loves to be keyboard warriors and make their comments, but in reality, I don't think they would like their sons or daughters or their mothers or fathers to experience those things. So it's just one of those people actually putting some perception on things. So again, that's a regulation thing, and I don't think I think people allow themselves to be fooled by those things if they stumble into that situation. Because again, there's a lot of regulations just in Missouri that allows you to know there is a difference between being legitimized and not so legit. So, and that's where those things, I'm not here to kink shame or shame anyone, but when it comes to professionalism, yeah, it is a thing that needs to stay kind of behind doors that are allowed to be opened or closed, not a door that's sort of just meant to stay open. I don't think that's how you provide a service with the door open. And I don't think that's how you provide anything in a private atmosphere as well. So
It's a great answer. Kept it professional. And on the personal side of things, you also mentioned that you're a spiritual person and you have that viewpoint on life. Could you kind of talk about your spiritual journey and how it relates to your massage practice?
yeah, definitely. So I'm kind of communistic. I kind of pull from every type of cloth instead of just one. So, I luckily, we live in a time where that's okay. It's not shunned. You're not going to be put to death or ostracized. Well, you still might be ostracized depending on where you are. But I would definitely say that every one of them have a little instruction manual of their own, and it kind of weaves and flows between everything. But I would say a lot of them are connected in a lot base roots of things that were required for that time, or sometimes some writings or folklores transcend time. So some things that are just kind of golden rule, or maybe not necessarily common sense, because we know that's not common. So just things like that. And I think spiritually, being allowed to open up your awareness and perceive not only yourself but other people and how they follow, and allowing yourself to you might read about it. So that doesn't mean you have something in common with someone of that faith, but you might understand what it means, or you might be able to actually perceive it different than everyone else. And I think that's a real gift to have. So, all these stories, you never hear a lot of stories about people never going anywhere or staying the same old, and then nothing changes. Those stories are so written out that they don't write them down. So, and but the ones that you see people going around learning other cultures and allowing that to affect them in a good way or a bad way, that happens too. But like Mark Twain's and Ernest Frost and all these great other people, they weren't known just staying on the same street that they've lived on their whole life. They might have went back to it, but there was a lot of journey between those
Yeah,
two. So, and I think that's where you kind of make your difference, especially spiritually. I think you open the bottle instead of trying to keep it closed.
where do you think this idea of morality comes from?
I would say morality is just kind of perception of self with a consciousness. So it's just kind of like morality. Some people don't have so much. The line between people who want to do good to you and people who want to do not so good things to you is almost a translucent, invisible line. And it's usually a hindsight line. It's usually one after the fact. In the moment it might be great, but I don't think it might be good after the fact. And so, it's kind of like Charlie Munger said, the only sin that's not fun to commit is envy. And so, you lose your present, your future, and your past when you're an envious person. So, and I think that's where a lot of the morality comes from, is maybe a lack of envy, maybe, more contentness, or maybe things that can make it better for other people. I think that's more or less morality. Because if a lot of things that maybe are always attached to morality, or always like a consequence, or a black and white, good and bad. That's usually not how morality is explained. It's usually a trajectory of time. It's a linear thing. It's not just in that moment. Because, things could change. Context changes everything. So, and I think that's where morality, you're seeing that change every day, especially here in the country we have. It's changing by the minute instead of by the day. So, just things like that allow you to just be different. But I think morality, it shouldn't stay the same, but I don't think it should always change either. So,
Interesting. I have two more questions for you,
okay.
Jared.
Yeah.
If you could have dinner with two people, one person from the past and one person from the present, who would it be and why?
That's a really great question. Um, I'm always big on biopics and reading about people, so that's always a great question. I'm currently trying to find, I've always been really excited to, read about people that made big changes. And so, I would always like Thurgood Marshall. I'd love to have dinner with him. And any time when he was, I'd love to know what he thought and how he perceived things. And then maybe someone into the future. Um,
Present.
oh, in the present.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone currently I could have dinner with right now, and I could learn a lot. Um, that's a really good question. I would say hmm, right now. That's a really good one. I would say I'm really trumped by that one. I don't know. In the present day, who would I have dinner with?
First person that comes to your mind?
Um, I'd probably have dinner with John Sherman, the owner of the Kansas City Royals.
Okay. Why?
Um, Because, like, really, I would love to be him in 40 years, where, like, I'm from Kansas City. I know, like, I have been around, but I'd love to, like, in, like, 30, 40 years when, I've done my work and I could buy my childhood nostalgia team. That would
Yeah.
be really cool from another guy from Kansas City. That would be really cool. So, like, just things like that, started from here. And, he's up there with only 30, 29 other people that only know what it's like to be similar to him. So that's someone I would put just thinking of it. That's my present day dinner that I
I
would
love
like
it.
to know.
I love it. I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to partner with us and offer the discounts?
The reason why I decided to like partner with Digi, it was just the fact of I wanted to be with someone that's like way more personable. I could have joined someone that was like bigger, and then, yeah, they could have got me way like supposedly gave me more foot traffic and things like that. But I don't think the change that I was needing, or maybe the betterment I was wanting, was necessarily a bigger app. It was maybe more person that's more, or a app or a business that's more intimate and more values that trust and that reputation of, you could lose money but you can't lose reputation. And I think that's where we kind of thread the needle there with partnering together, because people are able to see that, this is a legitimate place and they offer legitimate things. And I think being able to offer discounts and just being able to be in the atmosphere or environment of other people in a small or medium business class, it just lets you know that, like, we're trying to do our best, and that's the whole point. So
I love it, Jared. Well, thank you for the kind words. We appreciate you trusting us early on in the journey of this whole thing. That's all the questions I have for you. How can people find you? And what is some things that you want to leave people with?
okay, so where to find me? So it's Holistic Massage KC, either .com, Facebook, or IG. All those are all the same thing. So if you just look up Holistic Massage KC, either Google, Facebook, YouTube, all these things, you're gonna find me there. And the thing I want to leave people with is just the fact of we're running a promotion for not only this month but next month. May is we're doing happy like Mother's Day appreciation to mothers, daughters, sisters, and all those that kind of help us on our way. Uh, in May, and then in June we're taking care of all inclusion. So not only Pride, but all the fathers, all the brothers, all the people that feel like they fall between the cracks. And also, it's a busy month with Juneteenth and Father's Day. And then somehow half of our families always somehow have shindig or something going off because it's officially summertime. We're not getting rained on for weeks at a time. So, and that's where, We're doing discounts all of June as well. So we're trying to take care of as many people as possible just so we can make an impact in the community, not only for Kansas City, but just people who are coming through tourism, or, they have a meeting over, just for a day in Kansas City. We're trying to make an impact at the heart of the country so we can change the soul of the country as well. So,
Love the mission, man. And Jared, thank you for coming on the podcast. Great conversation, and I appreciate you, man. So thank you.
yeah, I appreciate you and thank you for the opportunity.